So it's been a long time. I should have let no. It's been a long time since I've seen an MCU movie in theaters. Probably the last one I saw was Thor: Love and Thunder, just to give you a sense of the time frame. And to be honest, I haven't really been super enthusiastic, excited about the more recent offerings from the MCU. I was open to Captain America: Brave New World, but didn't get to catch that in theaters. I did start it recently, but didn't get a chance to finish it. So that gives you a sense of where I am with regarding the current state of the MCU. Having said that, I did catch the most recent offering from the MCU, and I have some thoughts. So, if you're in the position, pull up a chair, grab a drink, relax as we begin this discussion of Thunderbolts. Let's do it. This is actually going to be a short review because there's really only one reason to watch this movie, and that is Florence Pugh. Got it? That's it. There's nothing else to say. Watch the movie because Florence Pugh's in it and she's really good. Okay? Thanks for watching. I'm, I'm just kidding, partially. But no, Florence Pugh was the only thing that really piqued my interest. That was enough for me to give it a look. Yes, I've been aware, been privy to some of the whispers around the film, the positive buzz around the movie, and that was a factor. But if I'm being honest, Florence Pugh is the name of the game, and she doesn't disappoint. If you've seen Black Widow, if you've seen her in the Hawkeye television series, she adds some much needed juice to all of these affairs, including this movie. I thought about it today, and I think Florence Pugh has what I'm calling the Dwayne Johnson effect. Do you remember that? There was a point in time in different franchises' lifespan where it felt like the series was dying, and all it needed to do was inject a little Dwayne Johnson. It boosted the vitality of the franchise. You take a look at the Fast and Furious movies. As soon as Dwayne Johnson came in there, it was a shot of adrenaline. You needed that. You look at G.I. Joe. It's not a long series, but you get the idea. There was something there casting Dwayne Johnson. There's a reason you do it, because the man has this energy. I don't know where he stands these days. I haven't really given it much thought, but certainly there was a point in time where Dwayne Johnson was the secret sauce to bring your franchise back to life, or to the secret sauce around which to build something. Rampage, San Andreas. There's a long list of movies. Going off topic, I think Florence Pugh is kind of like that. Now, when she's cast in something, there's going to be some vitality, some real life, and real emotion, and stuff that's just going to make you feel something. That's what she does for this movie. That's what she did for Black Widow. That's what she does for this movie. I can't sing her praises enough. She really is a powerhouse of an actor, to the point to where she can take a superhero fare and make it mean something. Not that this didn't happen with some of the actors in the previous phases of the MCU. That's why you get good actors. You get people who can not only act well, that can sell the humor, but they can sell the humanity of it, and the heart of it. I was quite surprised, and then I wasn't too, how much I felt in this movie, how much feeling and bleeding there is. Florence Pugh is the heart. She's the beating heart of this movie, and it really, it would be a real loss if she wasn't in this movie. And I think it just seems like common sense to build the story around her. She's our anchor point. You could do a whole lot worse than Florence Pugh. She's just she's a force. And the movie is better for her being in it. Other people that make an impact in this movie. Sebastian Stan obviously is great as Bucky Barnes. He is grounding. He's a grounding force in this movie. And I think you needed someone like him to help the proceedings feel more earthbound, like the earlier Captain America movies, particularly The Winter Soldier. Is a great example how grounded that movie is. This movie feels like it's definitely pulling from that. It doesn't fully stay there, but I think you need someone like Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes to give it that extra weight. As a legacy character now, he's easily one of the ones that you're happy to see. And he's consistent. He turns in great work. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is also great. The MCU really, it's almost like the Law and Order of cinematic universes, where to give the stories that they're telling some degree of significance that makes it more than just popcorn fare. You sprinkle it in with actors who are not necessarily just seasoned, but if you know anything about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's career, she also a powerhouse, can do it all. She has great comic timing. The line delivery is sharp, and she has moments of vulnerability that give us an insight into the character that we don't get in any other show or movie that she's made an appearance in. It's like it's so easy for her to give us, for someone she doesn't have a ton of time. She has enough time where you get a good sense of her. And plus you've seen her in other things before you get to this movie, but Dreyfus makes it look easy. And she's a very good, complicated character. She reminds me a lot of Nick Fury. She's like the Nick Fury of this next step, whatever the next phase of, whatever the next direction that the MCU is going in, with characters like the Defenders, like the Thunderbolts, and however she's going to be shadow leading them, whatever that's going to look like. She's a great and equally complex character. And Dreyfus does a great job with the material she's given. I have to talk about David Harbour. He's also good. He doesn't get a lot of time either, but he's solid and consistent. He's used to great effect for a lot of the comedic beats. He's almost overused. Some of the stuff it's over slightly, almost. But I'll take that over not having him in the movie at all. He particularly, I think he works best when he's vulnerable and he's able to have real conversations with Florence Pugh's Yelena. That's a great dynamic there, the holdover from the Black Widow movie, because you really get the interaction between both of them. You really get to see them emoting. And honestly, it's kind of nice to have it in the midst of all this crazy like action and superhero stuff. The emotional stuff is what makes it matter. And I think that's where Harbour shines best for me. He's great in the comic beats. I think it's you have to use him in that way. He's that kind of character, and it works for the most part. High points. Outside of Florence Pugh, the action is pretty sound. Expectedly so. If it's an MCU situation, you expect the action to be at a certain level, and I think that they mostly match that. There's one action sequence. There are some good action sequences. There are two action sequences that I think are notable. One primarily is, I think, the action sequence of the movie, which is where the characters, all of our main characters, meet. It's a pretty sound action sequence, and it's reminiscent of something out of Captain America: Civil War, for instance. the finale fight between Iron Man, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier. The intimacy of that fight and how it does so much work. I think you have something similar in this movie. You just have more people in the mix, but it's very well choreographed, very well shot, clearly shot. You can see what's happening, and that's always a plus when you can understand geographically where people are, what's happening, even when it's happening quick, especially when it's happening quickly. You want to know where everyone is in relation to the other person and how that fight goes down. So they do a good job with that. Another thing I really liked, there was no forced love interest. I was worried what they were going to do with Florence Pugh's character and Bob. It seemed like it was going in that direction, but I'm glad it didn't. This felt more like, oh, these are people who are going through a tough time, and they happen to connect with each other through, by chance. And it's genuine connection. It's not necessarily connection for the sake of romance. I like that it was more, hey, I'm having a tough time. You're having a tough time. Let's be friends and try to get through it together. It felt very genuine, and I really liked that. I really dug that. The story feels lacking in some areas, and I think what it comes down to is the stakes. The stakes don't necessarily feel high enough. Not that it has to be a world-ending threat that the heroes have to go try to stop, but there's something about it that feels like you're not really concerned about the characters living or dying. That's the thing I guess I'm getting at. This movie overall feels tonally darker than what you might have seen in earlier phases of the MCU, and yet that darkness doesn't necessarily lend itself to real fear that we might lose a character. And I think that's where the story suffers a little bit. It's a pared down affair, like Winter Soldier, mostly, in that it's more character focused. That's a very good thing. It feels like it's leaning toward espionage thrillers, but it doesn't fully do that. And I think because the stakes don't feel high enough, there's less weight to it. There's a focus on character, which is great. But because we're not worried about them, really, I think you lose something in that. The other tick mark for me about this film is that certain plot points, certain actions that take place don't feel like they make sense logically. Things happen too quickly without explanation. We're supposed to just buy that something happened and that's it. Just keep moving with the story. So it doesn't kill the enjoyment of the movie. There's just a couple things that come up and you go, oh, how did that happen? Or how did you get there? And what's, things like that, which is kind of, and sometimes it's not. Here, it's not super in your face because things are moving relatively quickly. It's a brisk movie. It's a little over 2 hours, but you don't feel the length. It's pretty quick. It's paced really well, so you don't really notice any of the weird plot things. I caught a couple things, so it was just like, oh, I don't know. Aside from that, though, what do you want? It's cool. It's okay. It doesn't hurt the movie. It's just something I noticed. The script is passable. I would say it's not particularly profound script, I don't think, but it is good. The bones of the script are really good in that how it presents its characters and what's on the page seemingly that allows the actors to really bring the script to life. You see it particularly with obviously Yelena and the interactions with certain characters. The unfortunate thing about the script is that it doesn't really leave a lot of room for some of the other characters to shine. The other thing is I also questioned some of the jokes in the script, whether or not they were necessary. There are a few references to body fluids that I think one or two is probably enough, but there's more than that in there. There's also references like penis jokes, penis measuring jokes that I'm not quite sure how necessary more than one or two are. So that aside, it's and then also the the film really the script really pushes the boundaries, particularly with the language. I noticed it feels it's decidedly slightly stronger language than you would see in earlier phases of the MCU. You might get one swear word in the earlier phases, maybe two. I caught at least 3 or 4 in this movie. Maybe there might be a couple more up in there. So just something to be aware of. At the end of the day, I actually had a good time with this movie. It's easily one of the more solid offerings to come out of the MCU recently. I did enjoy what I saw of Captain America: Brave New World. I intend to finish that at some point, but this was the first complete MCU offering that I've seen recently, and it's good. It's not going to be, I don't think, in your top 5, top 10 even MCU best MCU movies list. It may be top 10, but top 5, I don't know. That's gonna be hard to beat. It's good enough to be in the conversation. Additionally, mid-credits, post-credits sequences, A-OK. They feel like old MCU. And that's nice, actually. It reminds me of what it felt like in the early days. And so that bodes well, I think, for the future films. Obviously, we'll see what happens in the next couple months when I think Fantastic Four is going to drop. So we're going to see what that looks like. But Thunderbolts is a solid entry in this new state. Wherever the MCU is now, it's a good movie to have. So if you're considering giving it a look, you might do that. And if there's any reason that I can give you why I think you might want to check it out, you already know. Florence Pugh. She's the ticket. She's the secret sauce. That's it. That's what I enjoyed about the movie. And so, you be the judge. If you check it out, you may feel some different things. That's going to do it for this review. As always, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me. Come on back. Reviews are on the way. In the meantime, I'm getting out of here. I'll see you in the next one.